I was in full uniform when someone asked if I was heading to a costume party. I'd been standing in line at the base commissary for 20 minutes, same ACU uniform I'd worn thousands of times before. The comment came from a young airman behind me, barely 18, probably fresh out of basic training. He was grinning like he'd made the funniest joke in the world. I forced a laugh and said something about running errands after work, but his comment stuck with me as I moved through the store, grabbing the usual stuff: cereal, coffee, frozen meals. At the checkout, the cashier, an older woman named Rita who'd worked there for decades, gave me a strange look when I handed her my military ID. She studied it longer than usual, flipped it over, then looked up at my face with this puzzled expression. "Everything okay, Rita?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. She hesitated, then handed the ID back without saying anything. Just scanned my groceries in silence, which was weird because Rita usually talked non-stop about her grandson or commissary drama. Walking to my car, I passed 3 soldiers I'd served with during my deployment to Afghanistan. "Marcus," called out Devin, "my old squad leader. Haven't seen you around lately. Where you been stationed?" I mumbled something about being transferred to a different unit, kept walking toward the parking lot. Behind me, I heard him say something to the others, but I couldn't make out the words. Just the tone, confused and questioning. That evening, I went to the base gym like I always did. Same routine, same machines, same time slot. But the guy at the front desk, someone I'd chatted with dozens of times before, asked for my ID when I walked in. "Since when do you check IDs for the gym?" I asked. He looked uncomfortable. "New policy," he said, but his voice sounded wrong, like he was making it up on the spot. Inside, people kept glancing at me. Not the casual nods I was used to, but longer stares that felt like they were trying to figure something out. During my workout, I caught 2 MPs having a quiet conversation near the water fountains. One of them kept looking in my direction. I finished my sets quickly and headed home to my off-base apartment. The whole drive, I kept checking my rearview mirror, feeling paranoid but unable to shake the sense that something was off. Back home, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, studying my reflection. The uniform looked right, name tape in the correct position, rank insignia properly aligned, everything where it should be. But something about the whole day felt wrong, like I'd been playing a part in a movie and everyone else had gotten a different script. I decided to test something. The next morning, I drove to the base again, but this time I parked outside the main gate and watched the morning flow of traffic. Soldiers heading to work, contractors with visitor badges, family members going to appointments. Everyone looked normal, purposeful, like they belonged. I sat there for 2 hours, trying to work up the courage to drive through those gates. Finally, I pulled up to the guard shack. The MP on duty was someone I didn't recognize, a young specialist with serious eyes. He examined my ID card with the same strange intensity Rita had shown. After what felt like forever, he handed it back and waved me through. But as I drove past, I heard him pick up his radio and say something I couldn't quite catch. I parked in my usual spot and walked toward the building where I'd worked for 3 years. Everything looked exactly the same, but felt completely different. At the entrance, my key card wouldn't work. The little light flashed red instead of green. I tried it 3 more times with the same result. Behind me, I heard footsteps approaching. "Marcus," said a voice I recognized. "My old commanding officer, Colonel Grant. We need to talk." I turned around, and that's when I saw the 2 MPs flanking him, their expressions serious but not hostile. More like they were handling a situation that could go badly if not managed correctly. "You can't keep coming here," the colonel said quietly. "I think you know that." And that's when I realized they'd all been watching me, waiting for me to figure out what I'd been trying so hard to forget.